What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 36 of the Save State. And I'm really happy to be joined tonight by Chris from Dad Life B5. Chris, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me again, Bo.
Yeah, glad to have you back, man. Enjoyed you being on before, and I think we're going to have some fun discussion tonight, man. The last week in gaming has been absolutely insane.
Crazy. Yeah.
so much stuff. And the title of the episode, it says 100 plus game reveals, and I feel like that's a little bit of a I didn't mean for it to be clickbait. Hopefully it's not too clickbaity, but it really, there's so many game announcements, and there's no way that we could cover them all in one podcast episode and talk about each of them individually. But I want to hit a few of them tonight, some of the highlights, I think. And if there's any that stood out to you, that you've seen the last few days, feel free to bring those up too. But a lot of tonight, I want to spend talking about, because we got to narrow it down somehow. So I want to spend time talking about the Switch 2, because you were able to get a Switch 2 and I was able to get a Switch 2. So I think we can have a good dialogue about that. And then this Xbox handheld that was announced this weekend, which I feel like in some ways has kind of stolen the Switch 2's thunder a little bit in the news cycle of everything. But first off, man, let us know how you're doing. How are things going with the channel and stuff? You
feeling good. Yeah, so last month was a little slow. I had just life stuff slow me down from posting as much as I wanted to, so hoping to get back on track and get more videos up this month. I always shoot to have one a week I'm gonna try and do like 1.5 a week, maybe get to 5 or 6 this month to make up a little ground from last one. So my next one coming up is gonna be talking about my favorite iOS and Apple Arcade games that I play with my kids that aren't Roblox, aren't mind-numbing for adults to play too. It's fun for me and my kids. So that's the next one I have coming up this week. But yeah, everything's good with the channel. Gonna have a lot of Switch 2 stuff coming up, because that's all we've been really playing lately since we picked it up. So a lot of that will be coming too.
Yeah. So okay, so I don't know too many people who have Apple Arcade, like personally. I have Apple Arcade as well. And so can I ask you to give us a sneak peek? Like, what's one game on your list of games that you really enjoy from Apple Arcade?
So honestly, my number one that I love playing with my kids is really fun for me. It isn't really a new one, but it's called Crossy Castle. I don't know if you've played that one. It's from the same people who did Crossy Road, but it's basically like a platformer that is pretty much never ending. It's just like I guess they're procedurally generated platforming levels that you can all do together. And it's in that Crossy Road pixelated style. But it's really, really fun. And it's a great one to play with kids, because you could play all 4 play together, or however many could play together, and only one has to complete the level for you all to advance. So if you're playing with younger kids and they're struggling with the level, you still can keep moving forward without it getting too frustrated, as long as one person can make it to the end. So that's one of our favorites. But I touching on what you said, I think more people need to know about Apple Arcade. There's a lot of good games on there, and I don't ever hear anybody talk about Apple Arcade ever.
I know it's super rare, and there are some really good games in there. There's some games that work really great, and they've taken them off, and they're just like, you can't play them anywhere anymore, and that's kind of frustrating. But the games that are there, I think there's a really good selection, a pretty wide variety. Almost all of them can be played with touch controls or a controller. Like a lot of them,
that's the thing I love about it too.
Yeah, it's really cool, and your game files sync across iCloud. If you have other Apple devices, you can move from your phone to your iPad or to your Apple TV if you want to play on TV. A lot of them work pretty well on the Apple TV, even though it's weaker than like current iPhones, but a lot of them still work on Apple TV just fine, I think. So it's a really cool service, and yeah, I mean, you don't have well, go ahead.
It's like, and it's almost like it's basically free. Like it's super, super cheap by itself. And then, but for me, I use Apple Music and Apple TV, and they have like a bundle where you get them all, and they basically just throw in Apple Arcade for the cost of like for free, because it's the same cost as if you just had Apple Music and Apple TV. So
Well, they have like a family plan, like the Apple One family
hmm
plan or something like that, and that's what we have.
yep.
And I'll be honest, we don't pay for it. My wife's brother pays for it, but we're all like in the same family.
Yeah, there you go.
So he wants it, but it gives you like extra iCloud storage. It gives you
hmm
Apple News. It gives you Apple Fitness.
hmm
It's with like you have like tons of fitness videos, all different links, all different, different styles of workouts that you can do, and it's all included in that one plan, including Apple Arcade. And so that's why I have it, and I've always been like really impressed. They even take some games that were just like random iOS games that used to be full of microtransactions, and now they've removed all of them, because that's the big thing, is there's no microtransactions within Apple Arcade, which I really appreciate. I think that's really cool.
Oh, as a parent, I can't
Right.
stress how nice it is to not have, like, I could put a game on for my kids and know they're not going to be bombarded with ads every 5 seconds
Yes.
of playing a game.
Yes.
Because it really, the iOS store is full of really interesting games that are ruined by the ads. Like, it could be a
Mhm.
well done game, but it's like almost unplayable, because like every single
Yeah.
time you die, you have to watch a minute worth of ads. It's just insane. But
Right.
Apple Arcade
Right.
solves that. So yeah, I definitely, more people need to play Apple Arcade, because I do worry a little bit that not enough people play it, so Apple's not going to like really continue to support it enough. Like, even now, it's like it's a very slow trickle of games. Like, they'll release 4 1 month, and then they don't really have any for a month, and so it's not super consistent. But there's still a good catalog of like games they've had for a while. But I do worry a little bit about
Yeah.
how long they're going to keep like really supporting it, if people aren't playing it more. But hopefully it picks up.
I think hopefully it does. I agree. I think there's 4 this month and 3 next month. They've already announced. So that's good. There's like, it's not just like vertical one-handed little simple games. Like, there are some of those, like I think Solitaire's on there or something, like there's a
Right.
solitaire game or whatever. And but there's also like Trials of Mana, like the remaster of Trials of Mana is on there, and
They
some
have
of the Final
Stardew
Fantasy
Valley
games
is
are on
on
there
there.
now. Stardew Valley, Dead Cells is on there. Like, there's a whole bunch of really there's a I can't remember the name of it. There's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game on there.
Really good one
Splinter
too.
something, I can't remember, but it's really fun. And it just came to consoles, but it was on Apple Arcade first. And Ocean Horn 2 is on there. And
That's on my list to play. I haven't played it yet, but it looks cool.
it is cool, and it's like a Legend of Zelda, almost like a Breath of the Wild type of a game, and very much takes inspiration from that. And but it's really fun. It's got its own lore, its own story, and it's a good game. So there's like all kinds of deeper experiences that are really great for a controller, if you have a controller.
Well, one I really liked is they just came out with like a month or two ago. It was an old PlayStation game called Katamari Damacy, where you're basically this little guy pushing around a ball, just collecting things and slowly getting the ball bigger.
Right.
I always feel dumb explaining the game to people because it sounds ridiculous, but it's super addicting, and it's a really good adaptation on the phone. It's fun. I mean, I don't know how I haven't tried it with touch controls, but playing with the controller, I mean, it feels like playing the old PlayStation 2 game. So, and Roller Coaster Tycoon, another old game that I love, was another new release that I think they did really well on the phone. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think if you get it by itself, it's like $5 a month, and it's well worth the $5 a month for Apple Arcade.
Yeah, it's either $4.99 or they might have upped it to $5.99, but it's
Something
not
like that.
It's not terrible, and it's over 200 games, and like we already mentioned, some of them, sometimes they remove stuff and put new stuff in, but for the most part, it stays pretty consistently the same games. There's a couple of Sonic games on there that are Sonic the Hedgehog games that are really good. There's one of them is a racing game, and one of them is Sonic Dream Team. Have you played Sonic Dream Team?
I have
That
not.
game's really good.
No, I haven't played that one.
It's like a 3D Sonic, and you're running through the levels and collecting the rings and fighting Dr. Robotnik, and and different bosses. It's a really cool game. They also have like NBA 2K25
Yep.
on there, and it's not the it's a little different from it's a little scaled back from the console edition, but it still has most of the game there, and
Hmm.
it's pretty fun if you're into that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, there's just a really wide selection. So, uh, uh, Balatro is on there,
Oh, I love that
and
game. Yeah.
Balatro's really good. It
Yeah.
was a Game of the Year nominee last year, so
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Like, so yeah, people are sleeping on Apple Arcade. I was not expecting to even talk about Apple
Yeah.
Arcade on this podcast tonight, but yeah,
Well,
you're right. It's
I've been
cool.
playing it for a while, like just on my own, and then with the channel, I mainly focus on VR, and now I'm
Right.
going to be focusing on Switch. But I was playing it so much, and I was like, why is it? I don't ever see any content on Apple Arcade, so I'm like, I'm going to start trying to put it out. I mean, you'll see like the occasional one-off, video on a iOS game, but for the most part, you don't really see a lot. So I've been all about it because,
I feel like people
especially
are
as a
just
busy,
so like like real gamers,
right?
they scoff at mobile games. Like
Yeah,
mobile games are lame.
yeah.
But they're really that's really not the case with Apple Arcade, because there are so many different kinds of experiences on there. Like some
Hmm.
of them are I mean, NBA 2K is like that's like a real game.
Yeah.
That's a legit
No.
game. Ocean Horn 2 is
Hmm.
also on consoles.
Yep.
You can pick
I
that up
actually
on
first saw
console.
it on Switch. The Switch eShop is where I first saw that game for the
Hmm.
first time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But it was on Apple Arcade before that. Did you know
Hmm.
that?
No, I didn't.
There
Dude,
one that they took off that was really cool was called World of Demons, and it
mhm.
was like this samurai game. It was like a 3D action game where you were this samurai and you're playing through this whole story with like dialogue and everything,
Wow.
um, and fighting all these like ancient Japanese demons, and it was like it was made by Platinum Games, like
Oh,
the people
wow.
who made Bayonetta
Yeah.
and some of that, and the action, like it was very similar to some of that, and it's like, this is awesome, this is a really good game. And then after like a year they just removed it and it's nowhere now. It was an exclusive to Apple Arcade, so it's like weird that
That's
they took it
crazy.
off.
It's
But
gone. Yeah, that's the thing I think is the coolest thing about Apple Arcade is that the true variety they have on there. Like, because they do have some of like the games you would just play vertical on your phone and you can just swipe through, but then they have some like really in-depth things that you can dive
mhm,
into and sink some hours into. So it's got a little bit of
yeah,
something for everybody. Yeah, it's cool.
I agree. Man, I feel like we could do a whole podcast on this, because
I know.
there's like a bunch of games
Forget
that
the
are
Switch
now
2.
popping in my mind. Like I've tried this one, I've tried that one. Like these would be good to talk about. I'll have to watch your video when it comes out and see what else you've been playing. But yeah, yeah. Did you see Apple's keynote today by any chance? Because they announced some gaming related stuff in the keynote, some changes that are coming
I am out of the
to
loop
that.
on that. Yeah, I did not see anything about Apple today.
Yeah, they had WWDC started today, and so
Hmm.
they had a big keynote. It was about a little over an hour long, I think, and they had you should at the very least go. The best part of it, in my opinion, was they had a song at the end that they wrote and performed about. It was real life App Store comments, and
Oh
all the
man,
dialogue was from the App Store comments, but they were all like positive. They were all positive, but it
that's
was
funny.
really funny. It was really funny the way they did it, and I thought it was very entertaining. They got a guy starts the singer, the lead singer is like this guy with like this perm. He's got a perm like with like a mullet, and it's meant to be kind of cheesy,
Uh-huh.
but the song was pretty catchy, and it was well done. It was well done.
That's cool.
Yeah, um, yeah, but man, so even that was like another thing, is like
Hmm.
some of the like retro handheld stuff I do. There was some announcements in that last week of
Hmm.
new handheld consoles coming, and then we had the Switch 2 release, and then we had the Sony State of Play, and we had Summer Game Fest, and we had the Xbox Game Showcase, and we had Apple coming out today saying some stuff, and it's just like one thing after another.
Mm-hmm.
the last few days, and it's like way too much to cover. Like I don't,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to even wrap my mind around it. But what did you see any of that stuff? Like, did you have time to look at any of that?
Yeah, I did see a lot about the Xbox handheld, so I was watching that. I
Okay.
saw some of the. I didn't get to see close to 100 of what the game reveals are, but I did see a few different game reveals. But the big thing was that Xbox handheld. So I was reading up on that and kind of getting the lowdown of what they have
Oh,
coming, and obviously all the Switch 2 stuff. I've been staying up on that, but I haven't dove into all the game reveals yet. But I did see there was quite a few things at Game Fest or whatever it's called that they were just back-to-back releases they were announcing.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna kind of go through in order. We'll do the Sony, just a couple of games from Sony, the Sony State of Play, and then from Summer Game Fest, and then Xbox Showcase, and then we'll do the handheld and compare it to the Switch 2 a little bit, and just talk about those. I want to talk about Switch 2 for the most part, but there was quite a few reveals, right? So one of them was a new James Bond game, a new 007 game. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Now it was announced at the Sony State of Play, but it's coming to Xbox as well, and I assume PC as well.
So
But
is this the one that's coming to Switch? Because there's one coming to Switch 2. Is this the same one that's coming to Switch 2, or is it a different 007?
Might be. Oh, I can't remember. Might be here real quick. Okay, so remove that and share screen and share this, and here we go. Here it is. This is mostly a cinematic trailer, unfortunately, but I think the game is coming next year. Let me skip ahead to some of the action. So there's Bond. He's got a scar on his face, which I think is how his character is described in the novels, which they've never really done in the movies before. So that's kind of neat. But we have there's little that looks like gameplay. There's little bitty snippets of gameplay, but it's mostly cinematic. I feel like the last Bond game that I enjoyed was Nightfire in the GameCube PS2 days. And since then, I don't know that we've had some Bond games, and people might disagree with me about that, but that's the last one I remember really enjoying the multiplayer, split screen multiplayer on.
I'm with you on that. I can't remember the last one, but it was during that generation of systems that was the last one that I really got into, and then they all kind of just started feeling like copy and paste. After that, it felt like it wasn't really anything to write home about. But
well, yeah, EA was the one doing them, and I feel like they kind of did start to copy and paste a little bit. There was one after Nightfire, I think. I can't remember the name of it. But it was in third person, or you could switch to third person, and then it was then it felt weird because it wasn't in it wasn't in first person anymore. Of course, a lot of you saw in here, it was in third person.
Right. It gave me kind of Hitman vibes. It looks like they might be going for that kind of style.
It's from IO Interactive, who makes Hitman.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm kind of pumped about that. I want to see more about that for sure. Coming 2026. That's what I thought. So that's a pretty cool announcement, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Sony didn't really have too many first party things, unfortunately, that they brought to the table in this showcase. But another one that really caught my eye that I think you will maybe appreciate as well. I can pull it up too. was a new Marvel game,
Mm.
and it's also coming to all platforms. Did you see this one?
I know there's two. There's one I'm really excited for before this, and then I think it was a new fighting game that they announced too, right?
Yes,
Yeah, it looks good.
the fighting game looks. I think the fighting game. It surprised me, just that it was even a thing, because it like didn't leak. I don't think I hadn't heard anything about it
I hadn't
before, but then it's just like got this really cool art style, I think, and
I love the art style. Yeah, that's what stood out to me.
yeah, the characters look cool, and I don't know,
Yeah, I think it looks
like
really
it looks
good.
pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of the camera angles and stuff.
I definitely am going to take a really hard look at picking this one up, just because honestly, the art style is what sells me on it. I just really love the way it looks. There's another Marvel game though that is a day one buy for me. That it wasn't announced at Game Fest, but they just recently released like a couple of more characters in it. It's called like Marvel Cosmic Invasion, and it's a beat 'em up, and that one looks really cool too. Like,
it's made by the people that made Shredder's Revenge, right?
Yep, and I love Shredder's Revenge. It was so well done.
Me too. It's so good.
Yeah,
it is so good. I can't wait for that game either. That's a day one purchase for me as well.
Yeah, but this one looks really good. I with fighting games, I do typically wait to see some reviews before I fully commit, just because sometimes fighting games could be hit or miss. But this is one that if it gets decent reviews, I'll pick it up just because it's Marvel, and I love Marvel.
I mean, from what this trailer shows, it looks really polished, but you're right. You never know until it's out, right? Trailers can be deceiving, but this makes it look like it's going to be good.
It does.
We can really at least say that.
Yes.
Well, those were the two like standout things for me from the Sony.
Mm-hmm.
And, so it's also not going to but you see there.
You're breaking up a little bit there, Bo.
Oh, really? Sorry.
Yeah, now you're okay. I don't know. You went out for a second there, but you sound like you're back.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Coming to PC too, and Xbox. So, how about Summer Game Fest? Let's see. Summer Game Fest had a couple of things that one of the really the only thing that caught my eye out of Summer Game Fest that I'm like remembering off the top of my head was that they announced a new Resident Evil game. Resident Evil, it's like Resident Evil 9, the 9th entry. And it comes out next year as well. And I'm not going to show it on here, but I don't know. Have you ever played Resident Evil? Does that excite you at all?
I am not a Resident Evil person. I played one of the old. I think the last one I played was like Resident Evil 3. So I'm like way behind the curve on it. I'm not big on like, I know Resident Evil isn't super scary, but I'm not big on like the horror themed games. It's not really my thing.
I'm not either. And the last couple of them I've tried, Village and 7, and I was like, nah, this isn't for me. This is too much. It's way too much. I played about an hour of 7 and then deleted it from my PlayStation because it was just like I can't do this.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite games of all time is the original Resident Evil 4, and it's not very scary. But from
some of them are more just action,
Yeah, it was more action oriented, and I'm actually playing through it on the Quest. There's a Quest port, which is really well done, and so I've been playing through that for a couple of months, really slowly, but it's a very good port, and just like it's like you stepped into the game because the Quest is you're in it, and it's really
like
cool.
VR is the perfect setting to play one of those games in, just because if you are into that like creepy setting, do it in VR where you really get the full experience. Yeah. Well, this has still got those like
GameCube era graphics, because
Right.
it's just literally a port of that game.
Right.
But it's really fun because like I'm Leon Kennedy, you know, and yeah, it's a cool time. It's a good time. What about? I tell you what else. There were a couple of other things that we should probably, since both you and I play Quest stuff,
Mm-hmm.
we should probably talk about those games. I don't know why I didn't think about that until right now.
There was a couple big announcements for Quest.
There was a
There,
huge announcement.
there was a big.
Um,
I think you're thinking of the same one as me. It's Deadpool.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's an exclusive to
it looks
MetaQuest.
amazing. Yeah, and
I'm
I love
really
that it's
shocked.
Quest 3 because it means it's going to look prettier than it's not going to work on
Yes,
Quest 2, so it should be even better.
right. Yeah, right. This is gonna be kind of violent, kind of a violent
Yeah,
trailer.
yeah.
But having played Batman last year and just how much I loved Batman, and
Hmm.
then after playing Batman, I went and bought Iron Man VR, made by the
Yeah,
same team. Also a great game.
great.
Didn't realize how fun that was going to be.
Hmm.
But Camouflage did an excellent job on both of those, and the stories in both are really good. They're really talented. Now they didn't make this game, but since this is another superhero game, I'm hoping they maybe they learned some things from Camouflage, because
The
they're both
trailer
owned
makes it
by
look really
Oculus
well
Studios.
done.
Yes, it looks really well done.
The voice acting,
And
I think they got Neil Patrick Harris to do
yes,
Deadpool's voice, and so I think he'll do a great job, with the whole Deadpool persona. I think it's gonna be. It looks really, really, really good. It looks really, really, really good. And Deadpool to me was like tailor made for like the outrageous physics-based violence that we see in some VR games. Deadpool should fit right
right.
in and take it to the next level. So, yeah, this was one
Well,
I didn't see coming, but I was really excited when I saw it.
it did leak, a little early, or people were saying it was coming, and then some people didn't believe it and whatever. Like, what the heck is that? I don't know what that creature is.
I'll be honest, I don't really know much about, like, I never read Deadpool comics or really know much about Deadpool's like library of villains. So a lot of it will be new to me. If they
Mhm.
didn't appear in one of the movies, I'm not really up on Deadpool too much.
Yeah. Well, it's coming later this year, so that's cool.
Yeah.
That we don't have to wait too long, because the year's half over already. So, but yeah, it's got this cell shaded graphic style, which some people don't like, but it does help, I think, with the mobile hardware of the Quest,
Hmm.
having that cell shaded, and I think it will work really well with Deadpool. So, yeah, there was that, and
Well, one thing I would note too, just in case anybody who's watching isn't a VR player, like one thing I appreciate is when you're actually playing it in VR, it looks
yeah,
more impressive than it ever does when you see it flat in a trailer. So it is something different about that.
yeah,
Like it's more, I don't know if it just is your
it's
brain
true.
plays tricks on you, but things look better when you're actually in it in the VR. So I think the trailer looks nice. I like the cell shaded style, but I think it'll look even better once you're in the headset. It's just a different, I don't know, it takes it to a different level.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right about that. It is really hard to get footage of VR. It never
Mhm.
looks
It doesn't look
right.
as
It,
impressive as it feels when you're playing it.
you have to try to imagine it as if it was like reality, where everything has depth, and you
Mhm.
reach out and actually touch stuff. um, you have to try to imagine it like that, because in flat 2D, you just can't recreate it.
Yeah.
On a flat screen. Um, did you see this game? Also announced for Quest. It's called Reach.
I did see the trailer for this. I think this actually looks like one of the prettier games I've seen on the Quest
Yeah.
3. This looked
Mhm.
really impressive.
It does look really impressive. So there's like some parkour stuff, some platforming stuff in this game, but there's also some like FPS type stuff. Yeah, drop down, sneak behind this guy.
It looks like a really cool setting too. Like
Yeah,
parts
it
of it
does.
gives me like it's like an archaeological vibe, but then also like sci-fi at the same time. Like I can't really put my finger on it, but it looks really unique.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I'm looking forward to this one as well. And there was at least one other game they announced for Quest, and now I'm blanking on what it was. I know that there
I
were
know what you're
3.
talking about. It was I was just looking at it right before we got on here because I thought we might talk about them, and now the name of it slipped my brain. But it's kind of similar to this. It's like another like action adventure style game, but it looks really well done too. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, if you can remember it, that would be awesome. But
there
this
was
one's
some
called-
other Quest news too. I don't know if we want to go down the rabbit hole of that because it's a whole nother topic for you could fill a whole podcast on that probably too. But they're not doing a Quest 4. At least they pushed back the Quest 4. Did you see that news?
That's still a rumor, right?
They
Is that
confirmed that they're
confirmed?
doing these like the Quest 4 is not canceled, but they're pushing it back to 2027. 2026 is going to be like a upgrade VR, like lightweight glasses that have a puck. So you'll have a puck in your pocket, and they're more lightweight glasses you would just wear around. So kind of like the Meta Ray-Bans on steroids kind of thing is what they're going to do next year.
Okay. All right. See, the rumor was that they were going to come out with something like that, or new glasses with a display in them at least this year. That's what I had been hearing. So I didn't know that had been confirmed.
I think they just confirmed it either this morning or last night because I was reading about it. And it seems official. The glasses are codenamed Puffin, but they are supposed to have some kind of display. They're gonna have like hand tracking. I don't know how game heavy. I don't think their application's mainly for games. They haven't really talked about that. It looks like it's gonna be more productivity and just like lifestyle type stuff. It looks like it'll be interesting, but I do wonder. I was kind of looking forward to seeing, especially after playing the Switch and see the Switch 2 and seeing how powerful it is. It's really impressed me with what it's capable of. If they could put that like where the Quest 4 could go now that we're getting mobile technology that's really up in the ante. So it was a little disappointing to see we're gonna have to wait a little longer to see that next big jump, but hopefully it is that big jump we're looking for on the Quest 4 when we do get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of glad because I don't mind waiting because I think that there's even what we just watched. Clearly, the Quest 3 can do more than what we've seen it do so far. And so I think it's fine to give it an extra year before you come out with the 4.
I agree. I think one of the big things is we need developers to start just developing for the Quest 3 and stop making them backwards compatible for the 2, because I think that's really limiting what we're getting. But when you do see those few Quest 3 exclusives, they look great. Like Batman looks great. I think Behemoth was a Quest 3, only game, and that looks great. So the ones that are just Quest 3 are pushing, the hardware a lot more. But those ones that are Quest 2, it's like you just feel handicapped. Like it's slightly higher resolution on the Quest 3 maybe, but it's not next gen,
Right. Behemoth was also on PC VR.
Okay.
But there are some examples. There are other examples of Quest 3 exclusives that I'm totally blanking on at the moment. But you're right; it can do more, and I think this is just like we're just now seeing that it can do more because they're trying to build up that install base before they really went all Quest 3 exclusive, and now we're finally kind of we've teetered over the edge, right, of that, and so now it's time. I think the 3S really helped with that over the holidays. So yeah, and they just did a big marketing push, of course, over the holidays to try to sell more of them. And it was like the highest selling console on Amazon over the holidays, which is kind of crazy to think about.
It is crazy. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think they just got to I wish there was a way for more people just to try it, because like whenever people come over, I let them try it and they're always blown away, especially with the capabilities of mixed reality with the 3. That's really like the big selling feature that I've used with people. And when they see some of these mixed reality experiences, they want one, but I think a lot of people don't realize how cool it is until they actually put it on,
Yeah. And it's not like, with a console, you put up a display TV and lock a controller to a cable or whatever and let people come up and play it. But with the Quest, you have to put it on. There's no other way to do it. And well, with any VR, you have to put on the headset, and then you got to have somebody stand there and clean it, or whatever. And stores aren't going to do that. So there's no way to really try it unless you have a friend that has one. I was really nervous when I bought mine that I would hate it, and I'd be like, I just wasted $500 on this, But thankfully, I was blown away, like your friends are whenever they try yours, and I've been really, really happy with it. And a lot of fun. I did a review on it, 1 year later review. And had so much fun making that, because I'm still really excited about the technology, and it just blows me away, all the stuff that you can do, and all of the new ways to play games that there are that you just don't get with a console or a PC,
It's crazy. Yeah, it opens the horizons of like what's possible.
Fun.
Horizons. But it also, I've been really impressed with how you can take, like you were talking about playing Resident Evil 4 on it, or like I did a review of playing it was a mobile racing game that you actually said you had played. It was like Moto something, I can't remember the name of it, but it was like literally a iOS level graphic racing game, but playing it in VR like took such a simple game to like a whole nother level. So it's like I can't recommend enough people to try it. Just try it. And I think a lot of people too look at VR headsets that people wear them and they're like, oh, this is only for like hardcore gamers. But honestly, there's so many just great casual games on there for like people who wouldn't even really consider themselves gamers. Like my dad was over the other night. He put it on. He doesn't play any video games, and he had a great time sword fighting, people. And like because a lot of our motion controls, they're very intuitive for people to pick up who aren't gamers. But yeah, I'm a big advocate. I try to spread the gospel of VR as much as I can.
Well, my parents came to visit a couple of weekends ago, and I had both of them. I had my dad play a game called Beatable, which doesn't even use the controllers. It's all hand tracking.
I've been wanting to try that.
But you play drums on the table. It's mixed. It can be mixed reality or virtual reality, but you have to play at a table or some kind of flat surface in front of you, and you play drums on the desk or on the table to the beat of the song as the stuff comes at you, like a rhythm game. And he, like, I almost couldn't get him out of it. Like he didn't want to stop playing. Like I kept saying,
awesome.
All right, are you done? And he was like, no, just one more. And then that song will be over, and I'm like, okay, you ready to move on to something else? And he's like, no, just one more. So that was kind of funny. And then I had my mom play Maestro, which is a game where you play as a conductor of an orchestra, and it's another rhythm game, but there's like all these classical pieces and movie score pieces that you can play, and she's a retired music teacher, and so I was like, hey, check this out and see what you think of this, and she really enjoyed it, so, and they're not gamers, I mean, not by a long shot, so and they had fun. But then there's also really hardcore, like you mentioned Behemoth earlier. That is a hardcore game. Behemoth is
Mhm.
Um, it's violent and dark, and and a lot of sword play. But you also
Yeah.
have a grappling hook, and you're flying around. You grapple up to stuff, and then it's got these huge behemoth monsters the boss levels that you have to fight and take down. And so there's really something for everybody. Um, and some of them you can play just sitting on your couch, and some of them you got to get up and be active. The other night I was playing with my brother-in-law. He got a Quest for Christmas, and
Oh, nice.
we were playing Spatial Ops. Have you played Spatial Ops?
Now that's on my list. I want to get that one, but I honestly don't have. I have a bunch of Quest 2 owners, but not many Quest 3, and you kind of need to be Quest 3. Like a lot of my friends haven't upgraded yet.
So Spatial Ops has a campaign, a single player campaign with a
Oh, I didn't
story
know
and
that.
and voice acting.
Wow.
It's really fun. It's really fun. It reminds me a little bit of the 360 era, with like some of the dialogue is kind of campy, the story is a little
Yeah.
campy, but it's this sci-fi story that you walk through, and what happens is you stand in basically like a square, like uh, a square area, but it's in mixed reality, okay? But then on the edges of the square, the box that you're in, these portals will open, and through the portal you can see into a different place, okay? And that's where the bad guys are. And so you shoot through the portals and take down the bad guys
That's cool.
and play through this story. And sometimes the ceiling opens up, a portal above you, and sometimes stuff will fall through it down into your room.
That's awesome.
Like
That's awesome.
there's like drones sometimes that'll fly over you or whatever, and you might shoot one down and it'll fall through the hole down into your room and then blow up, and then your hearing will go out if you're too close to it.
Oh,
Like
that's
you hear
so
the ringing
cool.
in your ears.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. But then they also have a multiplayer where
See, I thought it was just multiplayer. I didn't realize they had the single player.
Yeah, the single player campaign is it's not super long, but it's probably like 5 or 6 hours, maybe 7 hours long. It's a decent enough amount of time, and it has different difficulty levels if you want to ramp it up and make it take longer. But then the multiplayer, you can scan your play area, and you can create your own map and set up barriers, like bulletproof barriers wherever you want them around your room, and set up weapon spawn points around your room wherever you want those. And you can add bots to it, and then your friend or whatever can join, and you can play on this map together. You're seeing the same thing wherever you put the barriers, and you like hide behind them and run around the room and try to take each other out or try to take out the bots.
Cool. Yeah.
And like it's really cool because this was the first time we had played it, but like if I pick up a grenade and throw it, I can bounce it off the barriers that I set up.
That's awesome.
And like bounce it around to where that somebody else is, or whatever. Or I don't know, like you can look down the sights of the sniper rifle and has like a red dot sight, and it's just really neat. Like the shotgun even works like if you shoot something really close, the spread's really small, but the further away it gets, the more the thing spreads out, So I don't know, it's just really cool.
Well, and the crazy thing is, and this is true with a lot of Quest games, isn't that like a $10 game? It's like a relatively cheap.
I think it's 20, but it goes on sale sometimes. Yeah,
it's like it's a really like. There's so many games like that you get these amazing like unique experiences, and it's like a quarter of the price of what you're gonna pay for a new Switch or Xbox or PlayStation game. It's crazy. Like that's one of the things that blows me away. Even free games. There's so many free games that are mind blowing on the Quest that it's like you would pay $60-$70 on another system for the same amount of joy you get out of it. So that's one of the reasons I love it too, because I keep seeing that. I've seen a lot of people play the multiplayer that you're talking about, and it looks like it's like almost like laser tag in your house, like on steroids. Like it just looks amazing. Yeah, it looks so cool.
Yeah, it is. I said, man, we gotta go to my church has a gymnasium. I was like, we got to go to the gymnasium next time you're here in town and scan that. I don't know. But
Push the limits,
whatever the
though.
size is, we'll just max it out because
Yeah.
the living room was feeling like kind of small. Like I couldn't be very creative with where the barriers were because my house is kind of small. So, but we still had a great time. We played for like an hour, and it was a workout, dude. Like,
Oh, I bet.
I don't know, it was a workout, and you have to like reload the weapons, like literally
Yeah.
reload the weapons when you run out and stuff. It's just crazy. And you're right, $20 for a campaign and a multiplayer, like that's not
Yeah.
that's affordable, you know.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah, and then $60 a year for Meta Quest Plus or Meta Horizon Plus, like
Yeah.
that's a steal because you get a rotating library of games and a couple of games for free every month, and it's always a pretty well it's really well done. Like it's curated really well.
I honestly believe you could get a Quest 3S or a Quest 3 and just get the Meta Horizon Plus membership, and you wouldn't really need anything else, really. I mean, you could just play that and get your money's worth out of the system and love it. Now, obviously, I buy a lot of games just because I love trying new things, but you could just live in that catalog for a long time. Like, I'm playing through one of the games in there. It's called Red Matter, and it's like a super.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish, but it's like a really in-depth game. They have Asgard's Wrath is on there, I think, and that's a really in-depth big game. And then they have a lot of lighter stuff.
That is a
too,
big game.
Yeah,
that's like 100-hour game.
Yeah.
Asgard's Wrath 2 is like it's really long. It's an RPG. It is
and
a long one.
You know, with Meta Horizon Plus. So
yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah. Man, we got off track again.
Yeah, we did.
Hey, let's just skip to talking about the Xbox handheld and the Switch 2, because I know that you can't stay for much longer. I'm gonna try to find a picture of this Xbox handheld real quick. So what did you think about the Xbox handheld?
Expert, man. So I'm really excited to hear your thoughts on this thing.
What did you think about how it looked while I find this picture?
Well, you know what's funny? I like looking at it. It does look very comfortable in your hand. I was one that when I first saw the Switch, I was skeptical of how comfortable it was going to be. And I actually don't really have a huge problem with the Switch, comfort. But this one does look more comfortable. Like if I were just to go off looks, like I like that how the hands, the controllers just extend just a little bit more to give you more grip surface area.
Yeah. I did something and messed this up. I don't know what I did. But I messed up sharing this tab. Hang on just a second. Yeah, it does look really comfortable. Here we go. I think it does look really comfortable. And the Switch, the Switch, especially the Switch 1, was never very comfortable to me. It always kind of gave me hand cramps. And I did end up buying one of those things you can put it in eventually that gives you some hand grips. I bought I didn't buy like the name brand one, whatever it was called, but I bought a cheap knockoff one on Amazon one time, and it was okay. It did help some, but it was always a little too small and just flat on the back. It just wasn't very comfortable to hold. And but in the new Switches, at least it's bigger. I feel like it is more comfortable just because of its size. But it doesn't have hand grips like this does,
Right. Yeah, this one still looks like an improvement. I think the Switch 2 over Switch 1 is a massive improvement for handheld, at least in my little bit of time with it. Especially because I actually was just playing my Switch handheld last night. And the Joy-Cons, I didn't realize how often they accidentally will slip out and cause an error. Like it was just really annoying how the Switch 1 Joy-Cons slide in. Maybe it's because my Switch is so old now, but the Joy-Cons will slip out sometimes when I'm playing handheld. Whereas with the new one, the way the magnets hold it, you don't have that as much an issue. But like you said, even with the improvements there, this one's going to be more comfortable for long sessions for sure.
I agree. Even like the buttons are a little bit bigger. The tops of the joysticks are bigger on there, and I think that even helps to some degree. But there's two models of this ROG Xbox Ally. I think the name's terrible,
Yeah.
but that must have been part of the deal because Asus has this ROG, branding, and they brought this is basically an ROG Ally or ROG Ally, however you want to say that, but with grips, and the buttons are a little bit different. It has an Xbox button on it, and the buttons are just a little bit different, and the internals are a little bit different too, because this has this new AMD Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme processor, and the ROG Ally has the Z1 Extreme. So this is the next generation of that, next evolution of that or whatever. This cheaper version, they haven't announced prices, but this cheaper version is a Z2A, and they didn't really explain entirely what that means, but they did kind of market this the one here as a 720p device. So that is the resolution that this one is targeting for most games, which kind of makes it interesting because the screen is still 1080p on both of them. But this one is probably the one that most people will want, even if they can't afford it.
I'm wondering who they're targeting the lower model one at, because depending on what that price point comes in at, I don't know who that's really going to appeal to, Yeah,
and the prices will be interesting. People are already speculating, that this is going to be like $1,000. The ROG Ally X right now is $900. It's $899, and this has, like I said, a beefier processor. So it might be more expensive, but also, consoles typically will take a little bit of a hit on their prices for the console itself, because they want to sell the software and they make it up with the software sales. So could we see them work out something like that? Because one of the big things that they're changing is they're changing. Looks like they're moving away from if you buy a game on Xbox, it only plays on Xbox, to if you buy a game on Xbox, it's going to play on PC and Xbox. So you have a license to play both places. And so if that's the goal with this, could we see them subsidize the price of these handhelds? And that I don't know. I hope that that's the case, because $1,000 for a handheld is just a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money.
I think one of the big selling points I saw people talking about was that, hey, that you'll be able to play GTA 6 handheld. But this is the way to do it. You're gonna need one of these. But I don't know. I think it looks like a great device, like the high end one, the X. But I think they're aiming for a really niche market, because I do think it's going to come in. I think even best case scenario, $700 to $800, I think is your best case scenario. But I think $1,000 is probably more likely, and you're really just targeting the really hardcore gamers. But even that, you're going to be looking at a subset of hardcore gamers who want this handheld, power. And after seeing how Cyberpunk and things like that look on the Switch, it's gonna be a hard sell, I think, to spend double the cost on a handheld than what you're gonna get a Switch for. So I don't know. It's good. They're gonna sell them, but I don't think it's gonna be any type of mainstream success.
Right. Well, I've seen a lot of positive buzz online the last 2 days about this product. And it does run on Windows 11 Home, which means you can technically dock it and run Windows, and it could be your PC also. Obviously, it's not going to be as fast as a traditional desktop, but because it's a mobile thing, but you could use it that way for some lightweight work as well. And that'll probably be some people's justification for spending that much money on the handheld, is that right there, I would imagine. But But yeah, $1,000. That's gonna be hard, and it could be even more than that. I mean, I say that they might be willing to subsidize some of it, but Xbox just raised their console prices across the board.
Right.
So it's a real weird place that we're in right now with tech in general and the prices of stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think it's a good thing to have this come out, because the more competition, the better in the handheld space. Like, we'll see as more and more come out, the next Steam Decks and all those things, how they all compare.
Yeah.
But I think it's really going to be really hard, especially like in Xbox's case. Like they've come out vocally and said that they plan to strongly support the Switch 2 with their software and have a lot of their games out on Switch 2. So like if you could play most of the Xbox games that come out, maybe not all of them, but most of them on a Switch 2 at $500 for the Switch 2, well, $450 if you don't have the Mario Kart bundle, $450 for a Switch 2, then it's going to be a hard sell. I think if it's just for gaming, like you mentioned, it might have some other applications, but just for gaming to spend $1,000 when you can probably play most of the things on the Switch 2, I think it's going to be, tricky. It's tricky,
It is tricky. It's very tricky. It's tricky like a fox. It's just the world has changed in the last 20 years. Things just aren't the same as they were, in terms of how usually we see the reduction in cost of consoles throughout the generation, and now it's just not like that this time. And so I don't know, man, but listen, I got a Switch 2 and you got a Switch 2.
Yes.
And this is the Switch 2. I've got it right. He's been sitting here this whole time, right next to me. But here's a little Mario Kart World, and you've gotten to play Mario Kart World. I would like to hear what you think. I'm just gonna, I don't know, play like a time trial. I haven't even played a time trial yet, but what do you think about this game?
I'm a big Mario Kart fan, in general. I've always loved Mario Kart, and I didn't know how much I was gonna really like this one, to be honest, just because it's like, okay, what new could you really do? Like, Mario Kart's not a game that I felt like needed to be next gen in any way. Like, it just kind of, it is what it is. But I was blown away. I love it. I absolutely think the 24 racers makes a bigger difference than I anticipated. Just adding into the chaos of every race, I think that was a huge upgrade.
And you know what? I'm not going to play a time trial. There's no other racers. I'm going to play a real match.
Chaos on screen. Yeah.
Talking about 24 racers.
I absolutely love that. I love the new tracks. I love how they all feed into one another. Knockout Tour is, I tell all my friends who, before they play it, I'm like, it's basically like Battle Royale Mario Kart. It's like Fortnite meets Mario Kart, and it's so much fun. It's so intense. I had my cousin over. We were playing it last night, and it was just, you're sweating each lap to make sure you make the cut. So I love that. My one complaint, and I spoke about this in a video I did with my first impressions. Maybe I just completely whiffed on this, but I really thought the free roam was going to be split screen, and it really disappointed me that free roam was only one player, because my kids, they wanted to really play the free roam all together and be able to explore. And I get why it's one player, because it's probably a ton of processing power to be able to generate the world 4 separate times, or even 2 or 3 separate times. But that was disappointing, because I was really looking forward to that. So I haven't even really got to dive into free roam, because anytime I'm playing by myself, I either play online or I'm playing something else. But that was my only little small disappointment. Other than that, I loved it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I played a little bit of free roam and done some of the challenges just because I wanted to check those out. But it's kind of cool. I can see how if you were playing online with maybe 2 or 3 other people, just kind of exploring around, like, it might be more fun to just try to do some goofy, silly stuff. But I don't really anticipate myself playing free roam very much. Now, it doesn't take long to find some of the challenges they talked about. They're pretty frequently available. I mean, they're not everywhere by any means, but you find these like the blue pea switches, from Mario, just kind of scattered throughout the world, and that's where that's where you do these challenges. I can't talk and play at the same time. I don't know what I was thinking.
You're doing good. You're second place. You got this.
So one of the things I thought was weird, not necessarily, I wasn't disappointed. I just thought it was kind of strange, was they took out the customizing your cart.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of a strange choice.
I
that
agree.
was just suddenly gone because we're used to having that. I mean, for the last couple of games, right? Had that?
Yeah.
Or I guess the last couple of games were just Mario Kart 8.
Duplicates, yeah. Well, they went insane with adding characters. Like literally anybody who's ever appeared in a Mario game now is a character, like everyone.
And
me and my kids laugh because you don't even need to have hands to be a Mario Kart driver. Like there's a lot of characters that I'm like, how are they even driving this cart? Like there's just they have no appendages, but they can drive the cart.
That's true.
Yeah, it's funny.
It is.
I do like some of the new items too. Like the hammers are a cool item. The gold shell is a little weird at first. I was like, what the heck is this gold shell doing? But it drops all the coins behind it.
Yeah.
So some neat stuff there.
Yeah. You're right, there are a lot of characters. And this thing I said I did like just played a few games in a video and I said, and this game is baked in nostalgia. And I'm going to stand by that statement because there are so many little things that you come across in the world that I'm like, that's from Super Mario Brothers 3. That's from Super Mario 64. That's from not Mario Kart 64, Super Mario 64, like characters and stuff that you come across that are on the track, just scattered, like, in different places. And that like really made me excited. Like I really got amped up about that.
Yep.
Like
the soundtrack's amazing too. The soundtrack is so good.
Yeah. It's very jazzy. Very cool. What other games have you played?
So the only other Switch 2 game is No Man's Sky. So No Man's Sky updated for Switch 2. And I already had No Man's Sky Switch Edition, but I had barely played it. I'd only played maybe an hour or two into it. And the Switch 2 version is like night and day. Like the performance is so much better. It looks so much better. And they've added in a lot of the game modes that were missing, or not game modes, but the expansions and features that were missing from the Switch version. And so it's so good. I played maybe about 5 hours into the Switch 2 version and been really, really enjoying No Man's Sky. So I'm excited to really like get to fully immerse myself in that universe because I've always heard good things about it, but I was like, the Switch version just wasn't scratching the itch. And this one, I think, is worth the time to put into it. What about you?
The only other game I bought, the kickstand, real quick. Kickstand is so good better on this thing.
So good.
It is night and day difference. This thing is rock solid. I love it. And the fact that you can change the angle of it and stuff is just, it's so good. The only other game I got was Fast Fusion. I did buy the Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 upgrade. And it is gorgeous. I mean, that game was already gorgeous, but it is really good looking on my big TV, especially. It looks really, really great. The other, like Bowser's Fury, now looks really good on here. Like it is so pretty. So definitely, there's definitely some stuff that I'm like, yeah, this is a pretty big upgrade for Switch users. I feel like this is worth upgrading to. It does feel like the next generation of Switch to me. And
I feel like it's more of an upgrade than I expected it to be. And I think it really hit home last night when I was playing the Switch 1 for the first time since I got the Switch 2, and I realized how cheap the Switch 1 feels now. It just felt like almost like flimsy in my hands. I didn't have the OLED edition, so I'm just playing on the original Switch version. The screen, everything about it felt cheap. Is the best way to describe it. After playing the Switch 2, it's a massive upgrade. Even playing Switch 1 games, because my kids still like we've been playing a bunch of the Switch 1 games on our Switch 2. The load times are insanely fast. Even ones that haven't got like an upgrade, like everything loads so much quicker on the Switch 2. It feels like everything just looks just a tiny bit better, even when they don't have the official upgrade. And so, yeah, I'm happy. I didn't pre-order because I was on the fence I was very upset with the price, but I actually feel like the price is justified for what you get after actually getting my hands on it. I think it's worth it.
I agree. I think it is too, and it really does feel like the next generation to me. And so the people who are nervous, or I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, they're already saying that they hate it. It sucks." And I'm like, "Have you tried it?" Like, I've seen some YouTubers who have bought it, and they're like upset that it costs. Oh man, it costs that much, and I'm playing with a delay here. I'm looking at it on this thing, and it's delayed. Yeah, it's worth it. I think that it's worth it. I think that these people who are saying it's not worth it are just, I don't know what the problem is, but
I mean, you're always gonna. I feel like you have. I don't want to accuse anybody of like clickbait, but some people, they just want to be the contrarian and have a problem with everything to try to get more attention. Because like, I don't know, it feels, the only complaint I think you could maybe have is like, oh, if you're not a Mario Kart fan, then there really wasn't any new first party experience if Mario Kart's not for you as far as from the launch games. But there still was, I think it was a solid launch lineup. I mean, there were some really good games in there, not first party Nintendo, but there was still some really good games in there. And we're getting Donkey Kong next month, and it'll fill out. But I think if you look at historical, like even launch lineups, this is not a bad launch lineup compared to other system launches. So, but yeah, I don't know. It exceeded my expectations, and it was painful for me to pay the price to get it, but I still was really pleased with everything.
I agree. I think that's probably a lot of it. I think is the price mixed with. I know that there were a lot of games and a wide variety of games at launch, but most of it was ports of stuff we've already gotten in other places.
Right.
And I think that probably soured some people on it too. And there's just not enough to get people excited yet. But I think a year from now, I saw a lot of people saying this too. They're like, a year from now, I'm going to wait a year, and then there'll be more games, and then it'll be worth it. And you know what? That's true. It will be more worth it then when there's more games.
I agree. And I think I understand the thought process behind that. But one of the things that really swayed me to jump on the launch bandwagon was you're not going to get a better price for it. Nintendo's not ever going to drop the price of this system. So whether you wait or not, you're paying the same price. That's just the way Nintendo works. But I totally get that. Like if you're waiting, I heard a lot of people saying they're waiting for Metroid. When Metroid comes out, that's when they'll pick it up. And I can see that. I totally get that. But I'm happy to have it. And again, I'm a Mario Kart fan, so that maybe has me slightly biased because I've been loving playing online and been getting my butt kicked more than I want to admit playing online. But it's been really fun.
Well, I've had a lot of fun too. And I played Mario Kart with my wife quite a bit. I actually haven't told my son that I got one yet. Because as soon as I do, smart. That's all he's going to want to do. So I've been hiding it from him. It has been in my room here until I'm ready to reveal it to him. But we played Mario Kart, and we did. I made her play Knockout Tour with me. Which I think is really fun. So it's really long though, right? Because it's like 4 races, but back to back to back, kind of. That's kind of like what it is, like a Grand Prix, but that doesn't stop, and give you a break in between. So we're playing, and she is stress sweating, and we get done, and she's like, that made my blood pressure go up. I'm never playing that again.
I can see that. I can
And
see
it is
that.
intense because you got to be, it's knocking people out as you go, and you got to make sure you stay up front.
Yeah.
We did finish first place and second place, so me and her
There you
on it.
go.
So she did really well, but it really stressed her out. So
Well,
it's just
I think Knockout Tour is a game changer. I love Knockout Tour, especially online play. It's so intense to play, online on that. But I will caution my parent gamers out there, and depending on how your son is, Bo, it's not always the best one to play with kids, because like my kids actually take losing very well in Grand Prix. Like they don't mind if they know I'm going to beat them. Typically, like they know I'm really good at Mario Kart, and they're okay with that. But Knockout Tour, they get mad because they don't get to actually finish playing. Like if they get knocked out on the second lap, they're irritated that they have to sit there and wait, for it to finish
and
so
watch to the end.
My kids, Grand Prix is the way still to go, just because that way they get to participate the whole time. So I will caution that, like, if you have kids that aren't very good yet, then stick with Grand Prix for a while. They've done okay. They're getting better at it, but still, they maybe make it to like the top 12 and then they start dropping.
I didn't check to see, but does Knockout Tour, can you set up the assisted steering thing where it doesn't let you go off? It has that too?
It does, thankfully. Yeah.
Okay.
That's like so good for playing with kids. Mario Kart does a great job with that, because like my 3-year-old plays with us and it's not a nightmare. He can, he still finishes, 20th, but he has a good time the whole time,
Yeah, because you can set it to auto accelerate and auto keep you, or whatever. I don't remember what it's called, but it keeps you from falling off the track.
It puts like guardrails, invisible guardrails for them.
Invisible guardrails, yeah. My wife noted she had it on hers, and she noted that it kept her from being able to do some of the shortcuts she was seeing.
It does. It does.
So there is that. Yeah.
One other thing that I thought was really funny when I first played Mario Kart, I freaked out at first, Bill. You might appreciate this, because I was playing with the Joy-Con, the Switch 2 Joy-Con, and I kept drifting off to the side. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got a Switch 2 with like drift Joy-Con problem. Like, what in the world? And I realized I accidentally had the tilt controls on. So it was like my controller was doing like the tilt driving, but I had like a little mini heart attack. I was like, I just spent $500 on this thing and I got a bum Joy-Con. But no, it was a false alarm. It was just me not knowing my settings correctly.
That's funny. The first race I did, the assisted the steering whatever was on, and I didn't realize it until I went back and watched the replay, because I was watching it in slow motion, and I saw the little antenna on the back that lights up when you get too close to the edge. I was like, that thing's on. But I mean, anyway, so then I turned it off, but I was kind of embarrassed. I raced the whole race with it, like a veteran like me and you, and we don't need that thing turned on.
That's it. No.
Did you get apparently there's two Switch 2 models with Mario Kart. One that had the Mario Kart World printed on the box, and one that had a sticker on the box. Did you get the sticker or the print?
I didn't realize there was a difference until after I got mine, but I got the sticker. So I just had like in my box was just like a printout for a code that I entered in.
Mine too.
Yeah. So
apparently the one that's printed on, it's pre-installed already. It's already downloaded. But
I heard some people had horror stories about how long it took to download, but mine didn't take too long. It was pretty quick for me.
So I noticed that as well, that everything was taking a little long to download, and I don't know if it was because it's something with the Switch's Wi-Fi, and I hope that's not the case, or if it was just that everybody was opening theirs on day one and trying to download stuff, and so it was just kind of slowing it down, because they sold 3 million copies or 3 million Switch 2s in the opening weekend apparently. So I'm sure that their servers were taking a pretty big hit with all that.
That's what I'm assuming. I have downloaded some of our other games on there, and they all seem to go much quicker than what the Mario Kart did. So I think maybe they just got bombarded.
And that was a game that everybody was going to download, right? Like everybody.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I did see I actually saw there was people at my GameStop where I got it there was actually, I was surprised by this, but there's quite a few people who opted for the unbundled Switch. And at first I was like, who would get that? Who would do that? But then they bought Mario Kart, the physical copy, and they were willing to pay the extra money because they wanted the box. They wanted the physical copy. And afterwards, I am like, it wasn't worth spending the extra money to me, but I do miss having the actual physical box. I don't know. It's just the weird collector in me likes having that stuff.
I know. It's so hard to let go because it's the end of an era, and it's just these companies, they're just not going to keep making physical stuff, and it doesn't matter what we say. It doesn't matter what us old timers say about it. They are not going to keep making them. They want everybody to go digital. It's cheaper for them, and they helps their bottom line. So that's the way it's going, and there's nothing I can do to change it. But
unfortunately,
but I do miss those days, because with all of it, movies, music, video games, where you got to, the box or the case or whatever, and you had the booklet in there and it had artwork in it and all that stuff, man. It was all part of the experience, and you just don't get that anymore. Even if you bought Mario Kart World physical, there's nothing in there but the cartridge.
I'm like, I used to collect DVDs. I'm like, I have that collector gene. Like I just like having the thing. But I'm like, you have to just come to grips with, hey, that's going away. And there's advantage to the digital, So the only thing that bums me out with digital is like, it's a money saving move by the companies, right? But they don't pass any of that saving. We still pay the full price whether we get the physical or the digital. Yeah. So it's like, I could stomach it a little more if you're giving me a discount for doing digital because you're saving the manufacturing cost. But that's an argument that will never be won. So it is what it is,
Yeah, I agree. The craziest part is that, there for a long time, and this is starting to go away too, but you could buy the digital copy of a movie for $20, or you could go to the store and buy the physical copy of the movie and get like the Blu-ray and the DVD and a digital copy in the box for $20. It's like, this doesn't make any sense at all.
It doesn't. It's crazy.
But I would go buy the physical copy and just have both. Like, that was I still have a huge Blu-ray and DVD collection. It's down in my living room right now.
It was sad. The other day I got a Blu-ray actually from the library. I took the kids to the library, and there was this movie that I've been wanting to see that's not on any streaming unless you buy it. And I was like, I'm going to get this from the library. And I got home with it all excited. And I can't find my Blu-ray remote control anywhere. It's gone because I haven't watched the Blu-ray in so long, and our remote's gone, and there's no physical buttons on my Blu-ray player. So I had to just return the movie. I didn't even get to watch it. I'm like, I need a new Blu-ray player now because I can't find the remote.
Oh man, that stinks.
Yeah,
that stinks.
But it shows how long it's been. Like, we stream everything now, so I don't even pull out the Blu-rays anymore. But yeah,
I know, man. I know. It's just sad to me, but it is what it is, and we shall persevere.
That's right.
Yeah, we probably spend more time than we should on all the entertainment stuff anyway, right? But it's a good time, and there's still, even with streaming, I mean, there's still like, we watched a movie last night, my wife and I, Fountain of Youth. It's new on Apple TV Plus, and going back to Apple Arcade and all that stuff. And it was a really fun movie, and it was really clean. Like, it didn't have too many curse words in it, and nothing too vulgar in there. It was just like it really reminded me of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Like, it took a lot of did a lot of things of the same things that movie did. But it's about a brother and sister who were looking for the Fountain of Youth, and it's a fun movie. Natalie Portman and John Krasinski starring in there. It was a good time.
I watched it as well. I liked it. It reminded me Indiana Jones, but also National Treasure, the Nicolas Cage movie. It reminded me of that kind of. And I agree, it's a good like family action adventure movie, because it was very little, I think, questionable in there, that I noticed at least. And that's hard to find a movie that is live action movie that you can watch with your kids and not be too scared of what might pop up. But it was good. I not to go on an Apple, like we're gonna sound like we're just like Apple shills just promoting everything, but I think Apple TV generally has a lot, like anything they put out is pretty high quality. Like whether you like it or not, it's normally well done. I've liked a lot of Apple TV shows.
Yeah. Anything in particular?
Oh man, well, right now I'm watching Murderbot, which is not maybe family friendly as much, but it's based on a series of novellas that I really liked. It's about it's set in the future of it's like a cyborg who's a security guard, but he hacks his system to like not be under system control anymore. But it's not really like a crazy action thing. It's more of like a comedy. Actually, you're hearing his inner narration, and it's like an action comedy. They're 30-minute episodes, and it's really good. The books were amazing too. So I really like Murderbot. Yeah,
I haven't even heard of that one.
It hasn't got a lot of publicity. It just came out. It's like 4 episodes in. It's still first season. So
okay, all right, yeah. You're right. They're all really well done. I haven't watched too many of them, but I've seen trailers for most of them, and they all look like they're really well done. So I've seen some of Foundation. That one interested me. Didn't finish it though, but it's really well shot, well written, I thought. And I keep thinking I need to go back and finish it, but the episodes are longer, and I'm just always busy with something, so I haven't done it. But yeah, there's a few others that we've watched, but anyway, I wanted to real quickly always try to talk about faith on the show, and one of the things I was thinking about today is how well, my brother-in-law and I were talking about Spatial Ops, and I told you we played Spatial Ops this weekend, and because they were visiting, and we're talking about the end of the campaign. And I was telling him that I had finished the campaign, and I thought it was like really fun. The last boss was really good. He's like, "Oh, I got to the last boss and I couldn't beat it. Like I tried and I couldn't do it." And I was like, "Oh, that stinks." Like, I don't know, like lower the difficulty or something, and just so you can finish it or whatever. He's like, "Yeah, maybe I should try that." And so anyway, he had tried multiple times and couldn't get there, and it did take me like 2 or 3 times, I think, to finish it, but I was able to do that, and it just kind of made me think about perseverance. And so one of the verses that I had read recently was from Philippians chapter 3, and it says, "Forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus." And just thinking about pushing through like all kinds of challenges, whether it's in a game, because even Mario Kart World, some of the challenges I came across in Mario Kart World is like I had to do them like 5 or 6 or 7 times, a few of them, because they were kind of difficult, and I had to figure out what I was supposed to do even at first. But most, when you persevere, eventually you get to the goal. And so just to encourage anyone out there listening, that
Oh, Bo, I think we lost you. You froze. Hey there, Bo. Can you hear me?
that faith in Are you there?
Oh, now you're back.
Yeah, I like it, and then just like everything. I don't know what happened.
I was
My
trying. I was
internet
like,
went
I
out
don't
for
know
a
if it
second.
just was me or if everybody froze for everyone, but you froze for me for a while.
Yeah, just like my internet went out, I guess. But we're still streaming, it says. So I don't know. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. But so perseverance. Once you
Yeah.
persevere, eventually you get to the goal, even if your
Mhm.
internet goes out.
That's it.
So
You're being
yeah.
tested.
And I don't know if you have any examples from your life that you'd be willing to share about times that you needed to persevere or not, but I would love to hear it if you did. I like stories.
Well, yeah. So perseverance has been a big thing in my life. You know, a lot of people ask, you know, especially when they're getting married, they'll ask me and my wife, like, oh, you know, what challenges did you guys face in your marriage? And we always answer it the same way. We faced money challenges. Like we always struggled financially early on in our marriage, especially. And so that was a big one. But that even paled in comparison to, you know, with our third son, when my wife was pregnant, we had a lot of scares with that. So on her one ultrasound, they did some testing and they found that there was a pretty decent chance he was going to have a disease called cystic fibrosis, which is a terrible disease that is, you don't really have a very long life expectancy with cystic fibrosis typically. Now, I've now kept in touch with it and there's a lot better treatments now, so it's getting better, but it still is a very scary thing. And then he had issues with his kidneys on the ultrasound. He had a chance of having Down syndrome. And so during her pregnancy, we had an immense amount of stress, not knowing what that future looked like. And really trusting in God and having faith was what carried us through and helped us to persevere through that. And then thankfully he was born. None of those, everything tested clear. He ended up not having any of those, but going through that now helps me persevere through other challenges. So when we have money problems or we have things, knowing that, hey, it's money issues or other issues aren't anything compared to our health, keeping things in perspective really helps. And then, you know, trusting in God, he could carry us through, you know, whatever it is we're dealing with. And so, yeah, perseverance, I don't know how you can't live in the world we live in today without it, honestly.
Yeah, I heard this story a while back about there was this research biome, I think in Arizona somewhere, where they had created this just big greenhouse to grow plants in, but it was in this perfect environment where
it's like an hour from me.
It is? For real?
Yeah, I'm in Arizona. Yeah, I'm in Phoenix. It's in Tucson, so like an hour and a half away. Yep. The biosphere.
Okay. I didn't even know that. But one of the things they learned was that the trees that they were growing in there would grow to a certain height and then they would just fall over. And the scientists were like, why did the trees keep falling over? Like they're in a perfect environment. There's nothing to knock them over. And what they discovered was that because it was in this perfect environment where it never had to endure any wind or any any rainstorms or anything, the roots of the tree would just stay on the surface and would never grow deep. And so because the tree never had to persevere anything, it ended up toppling under its own weight.
That's amazing.
And I think that's such a great analogy because nobody wants to go through bad things. I mean, we don't. We like to be in comfortable places, you know, in our comfort zones and not go through trials. But when we do, I think we need to take a step back and realize that maybe this can be a good thing. Maybe pain can actually be my friend, in that it might just make me stronger. It might make my roots grow deeper, and it might make me stronger in the fact that when the next storm comes, I'll be able to withstand that, you know, too. And so I thought that was a really cool story about the trees there.
I hadn't heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that verse again, forgetting what is behind. A lot of people will get stuck in the past. They get stuck in their regret, and they get stuck in this victim mentality of like I think about the uncle from Napoleon Dynamite, who like could never get out of high school football. I don't know if you remember that movie, but
You can
he's
throw it
always
over the
talking about.
mountain. You can throw it over the mountain.
What you want to bet I could throw a pigskin over them mountains? Back in '83. And he just never leaves he regrets like not winning the state championship or whatever and can never get past it. And we need to leave the past in the past, learn what we can from it, but strain toward what is ahead instead. And let the past that strengthened us help us move into the future. And I think that that the best way to do that is in Christ. So yeah.
No, I was amen to that. I agree completely. One of my big like mantras I use in life is just keep moving forward, right? So like whether you're running forward, you're walking forward, or you're crawling forward, however, whatever pace you're able to go, inch your way forward, and things will get better. Things will improve. So no matter what you're going through, just focus on that next step, whatever that is. And don't compare yourselves to others, because some will be running forward, some will be walking, some will be crawling. You're on your own journey, your own track. And so just focus
and
on
in different seasons.
That's it. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like people don't always run. There's going to be different seasons in your life where you will crawl or you will walk or you will run, and or you'll walk with a cane or whatever, whatever it is. But and that's physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, however you want to apply that. But there's just some thoughts about tips for gaming and for life. There is to persevere through that boss battle. Whether it's in the game or in life, and trust Jesus with each step of the way. I think that's what I was meditating on the last couple of days. But so I'm glad you like your Switch 2. I'm glad you don't regret your purchase. I'm glad you didn't get a wonky joystick, that you figured out that you had the tilt controls on, that you persevered, and that you found that you had your settings not like you wanted them. And man, I appreciate you being here so much. Really do. It's been fun to talk to you tonight. You're always welcome back on the show, but why don't you let us know where we can find you, and let us know again what you're working on coming up next.
So Dad Life B5, you can find me on YouTube primarily. My channel is mainly focused on dad-friendly gaming. So games you can play with your kids, and then also games that can fit in your busy dad lifestyle just to play by yourself. That's primarily what I do. I do a lot of VR stuff. I'll be doing a lot of Switch 2 stuff. And as we talked about on here, iOS, Apple Arcade gaming. And then I'm also going to be mixing in just some kind of like dad activities outside of video games that you can be doing with your kids. Like my one kid is really into animation, so talking about some of the tools I've used to help foster that creativity in him. So dad content in general is my channel. But yeah, definitely I appreciate anybody checking it out. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
That's cool. I didn't know you were going to do some other stuff like that. That's really neat. I like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I appreciate you being on tonight. Definitely go check out Chris at Dad Life B5. It's you've got some good stuff, and I think that your videos are getting better as you go too. So just to encourage you there.
I'm trying to catch up to you, Bo. You got such great quality on all your stuff. I love your channel.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm trying to get better too. I mean, I watch some other people's stuff and I'm like, man, how did they do that? or could I do something like that? And I start thinking through that process and I'm like, I don't know if I have that kind of time. But
that's it. Is what you kind of talked about before. We're all in different seasons of our life at times, right?
Yeah.
And I I sometimes judge my channel harshly because I'm like, man, I don't have time to edit and do all this crazy stuff. But you know, when you're a dad and you work full time and all that, you got to do what you can do.
Right.
So I do the best with the time I have, and you do the same. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you can find me right here at Bono's Gaming. I'm actually debating on what my next video is going to be. I think it's going to be a VR video because I haven't done one of those in a couple of weeks. And I think it might be actually, there's something I've been wanting to do for a while, Chris, and and you do this. I feel like you do this like kind of regularly, like a list video of different games.
mm-hmm.
So I have a few games that I want to make some content on, but I don't know if I have the time to dedicate a whole video to it. So I'm like, why don't I make like a hidden gems video? So I might be shooting that this week, and putting that out. I also have to get my Backbone Pro controller review done. I've been playing a lot on that, which Backbone just to reach out and send me that controller, and so I've been testing it out in a lot of different scenarios and kind of formulating the pros and cons of the controller, and so and figuring all that out so that I could shoot that review. And so I need to do that in the next couple of weeks as well, so there will be that. But yeah, Bono's Gaming here on YouTube and on X. I don't have any of the other social medias yet, maybe someday, but like we already said, time is limited. So that's where I am for now. But yeah, thank you all for joining us tonight for episode 36 of The Safe State. And we will catch you on the flippity flip. Make sure that you stay kind and encouraging out there to all those people in your life and those you come across. But we will see you soon. Thanks for being here.
Good night, everyone.